come from?
Okay,
No,
so
I don't like it.
this is
When we are about to be fooled,
Pathologic.
the situation unties our hands. Well,
Well, the muscles are flexing, meaning we are already in...
borrowing somebody else's computer so I can do a let's play. I'm going to hover over each of the characters as I give my little intro. You can pause and read these if you are so inclined. If not, then it's up to you. I will probably try to do a run-through of each one, because there isn't really a run-through of, well, for the horospecs and Clara anyway. I haven't seen a full run-through of either of them. I only know of one entire run-through for the Bachelor, so I'm sorry, but his is the one that I'm going to do first.
Come here by the will of some evil coincidence. His whole life's work is about to become a failure. A letter written by his colleague reaches him at a time when he's being persecuted roughly by the authorities, who doubt the competence of his theory of the limits of human life. The letter states that some settlement is ruled by an extraordinary man, who is a living proof of the Bachelor's hypothesis. Dankovsky is filled with hope. He sees an omen in this unexpected letter. Without spending a single day in idleness, he sets out on his journey. The Bachelor arrives at the place at night. In search of a place to spend the night, he meets a girl by the name of Eve Jan, and stays at her house in order to wait for the dawn.
Now it's going out. This is kind of a hidden gem of the survival horror genre. It's a Russian game, and you know, a lot of people will complain about the graphics, and kind of like a time when graphics are just getting so like overblown, and you know, like they'll focus on graphics more so than pretty much anything else in a game. It's kind of refreshing to play older games that have really great stories like this one, and I've never really like noticed any like lack for like the graphics myself, because I really like the art style in this game. They did texturing really well, from, you can see from like Daniel's outfit, or any time that they show any like wood carvings or anything, like just like the texturing is really nice. They did a good job with it. And I heard they made the engine themselves, which a lot of companies don't do anymore. So I think they did a really good job with what they had at the time. So, some people, when they do Let's Plays, they like to read everything. I will read everything, and if you hate that, just pause it, read it yourself, and like scroll forward. I'm just gonna read it. And so we're beginning with, my mission so far is quite vague. The results of the examination of Simon Kane, who is a person of remarkable longevity according to some sources, could overturn the basis of modern thanatology and the scientific views on death in general. However, even if this immortal dragon exists, the fact of his existence on its own will not cancel the authorities' order to close our laboratory. I will need to find a way of getting into closer contact with him. If Simon, a man of power and authority, should find my interest insulting, it will be hard to persuade him to write a new page in the history of the teaching about the laws of vital processes. Alright. And then we get this little day 1, by the end of which the Bachelor will have to begin his fight with a truly undefeatable foe. And then, I think we also have a letter. Letters I put on J, that's right. I had to move the keys around because, as I said before, I am using a friend's computer, and he has a Dvorak keyboard, so we're, dealing with that. Anyway, Isidore Barak's message reads, Dear Bachelor Dankovsky, I found out with great sadness that the authorities have ordered the closure of your laboratory, the place that became famous due to your discoveries in thanatology. Is it true that they called your work a scientific extremism? If there is someone that thinks studying the matters of natural death, aging, and necrosis to be a hopeless business, I have found a case that could shut them up and restore your good name. The ruler of our town, Simon Kane, is a living example of a truly inexplicable longevity. I cannot explain this phenomenon. You must come immediately. This can become a sensation. It can preserve, revive, and save your laboratory. As always, your faithful servant and colleague, Isidore Barak. P.S. I have spoken to Simon already. He has graciously agreed to render assistance to such a celebrity as yourself. We sympathize audacity and all sorts of fantastic projects here. Alright, so we're going to get going, run off down the stairs, and talk to Eve really quick.
I felt that you would come.
Alright, so did these sounds from outside awake you too? A terrible laugh that was, wasn't it? And something cracked so loudly. No, I heard nothing. I'm just gonna be picking whatever response as I go along. It doesn't really matter in this conversation. If it ever does matter, I will probably take a second more to decide as I read through them, or let you know why I'm picking something and why I didn't pick certain other choices. So that'll pop up as we go along, but not right now. It seems some strangers are there in the backyard. I don't think they have some wrongdoing on their minds, but I have a bad feeling about this. I'm afraid to come out to them. I hope they go away soon and stop disturbing our sleep. I'd like to thank you for your hospitality. I hope you didn't feel any lack of something, because I'm very happy that you were here, Daniel, did you? Could you tell me where your ruler lives, Simon Kane? Are you prepared to exchange the company of a charming woman for that of a terrible old man, even though he is a sorcerer? That's so sad, but Simon won't disappear, you know. He always was and always will be, even if the moon were to fall to the ground. Please stay with me for a while. Simon is a sorcerer? Have I understood you correctly? Is that the secret of his longevity? Are you in that much of a hurry? Come on, the Canes are asleep now. Take your clothes off, have a rest on my bed, let me warm your hands. You were so anxious to see Simon, as though your life depended on it. Yes, my life... Yes, when my laboratory is on the brink of doom, my whole life's pursuit depends on that remarkable man. If this man really managed to live that long, then his fibers will help me defeat death. Death, so that's the enemy you chose for yourself. Isn't it hard? I think nobody has managed to defeat that evil yet. My enemy is inevitability. I am challenging the forces of nature. I don't understand. Show me where Simon lives. It isn't far. The Canes live in the Horns on the bridge square, but let me give you a piece of advice. I need no advice. Go on and prepare everything for your return. Do come back after you speak to the Canes. They will probably do a lot of things that will puzzle and put you on your guard. I will have some advice that will help you if you need. Okay, I will come back. Alright, so this is the map. Scroll out a little bit. So you can see it's pretty extensive, especially as you're wandering around. You know, there are a couple like areas like the apiary and the abattoir that they'll mention. We won't really get into too much. We'll be heading over here a little later. Over here are like the plants and the warehouses as they talk about them. So we'll just head out quickly today, this morning. There is a little scene that I'm going to try and get us to. This is a mask and an executor and our guests that she was mentioning before, but I'm going to skip talking to them because the mask and the executor just kind of say a couple things about like how to play the game in cryptic ways, and It's a good conversation, but something that I'm going to overlook for now. Walk by this smartly dressed man. Head over to George's house. I am not used to having so much foliage in the game, so I'm appreciating that as I walk by.
My heart hurts.
Most respected doctor, we have been expecting you with great impatience. You need not state the details of your matter. We Kanes know of your works, and we're prepared to render you any assistance possible. The more sorrowful it is for me to inform you of the fact that Simon did, my consanguineous brother, the creator, keeper, and embodiment of all that surrounds us, has been murdered. I can't believe it. It cannot be. My brother was murdered tonight, murdered mysteriously under the strangest of circumstances. However, I do not wish to suspect that his departure was connected with the visitor who Simon received that evening. That visitor, a man of great honor and an old friend of our family, had only been discussing some matters with my brother in the presence of witnesses. Who was that visitor? You know that man. Last night your colleague, Isidore Barak, paid a visit to my brother. It was he that invited you here, wasn't it? Yes. Isidore has done more than he thinks. I have a feeling that refuses to leave me. It seems time is executing its plans, and is using such powers to do so that are not subject to contest. What do you think? I am no fatalist. Perhaps my mind is clouded with sorrow. I can't get much out of my mind the thought that your arrival was not coincidental, my dear doctor. Not much here depended on your will. Let us not blame fate for it. We did know about the letter. Isidore wrote it, risking to provoke the wrath of our family. Really? We didn't know for sure if you were to come or not, but my brother had been preparing for the meeting. The tragedy may be a consequence of the actions he took in preparation for your arrival. Someone has taken a powerful piece off the chessboard, a piece upon which you depended your position here. It is a pity that Simon was playing on your side. So, you presume the Queen knew of the blow and sacrificed itself for the life of a pawn, but why? As you helped to gain the victory over death, this was your dream, correct? I presume Simon had entered another round of the risky battle with fate to do this. He wanted to prepare visual proof for you. What did he do? That is of no interest to me at all. He made another spurt for the stars. Does it matter how? He paid for it. I repeat, he was murdered. Who killed him is far more interesting to find out. Everything has gone to rack and ruin. I wish I could take revenge on the person who ripped this man out of his life. Do you want to help us, Doctor? Find the killer for us. My brother Victor, who is in the wing next door, already has some thoughts on the matter. Help us and we will reward you. Yes, it seems there are too many coincidences. Your brother's murder can just as well be called murder of Bachelor Dankovsky. I will help you in every way I can. I am convinced that if there is anyone at all that can help us solve this puzzle, then it is you. This mission requires a man of your intellect. If Isidore was a weapon in the hands of fate, then Simon's murder is a message directly for you. I don't blame you for it, though. How do you plan to look for the killer? We will take our measures. From you, I ask only one thing. Be yourself. Do only what you think is required, whatever you find out, whatever you do, to whatever conclusions the day drives you. Everything will give us clues as to the solution of this puzzle. I repeat, everything that happened has happened for you. Fine, a plan of this kind looks appealing to me. Alright. There are more things that I could ask him about, but I'm just gonna be on my way. Try and get through the first part of the day, the first hour or so of the day, quickly. I always get stuck on that wall.
Probably. Ogimsky has prepared a trap for this newly appeared Haruspicus.
The famous Dr. Dankovsky. Your arrival is a great honor for us. Victor Kane at your service. Daniel Dankovsky at yours. I can predict that things that have become ordinary for us will probably make you feel discomfort or even disgust. I would like to smoothen that impression. You know, our small society has fallen out of the continuous rounds of events that the rest of our country is experiencing. Time leaves us out. Don't worry.
Yes?
How can I help you? George told me everything. Frankly, he told me very little, but enough to astound me. He said your story will be more informative. So, you've agreed to help us, have you? Yes. May I ask why? I want to solve the puzzle. I like it that I have so little information. It's a challenge for my intellect. I am prepared to answer all your questions. When was Simon seen for the last time? He let Isadora go, and an hour later he came out to us in the hall. He said he's off to the inner chamber and will not receive any more guests. He also ordered to stay away from the chamber. He told everyone in the house to refrain